Okay, hello today. This is part 1 of how to play Breakdown by Tom Petty. Okay, so the intro riff is this. One sec. Okay. Okay, that's the intro. Kind of thing. Okay, it would be the 8th fret of the high E, then the 10th fret of the B, then you pull off to the 8th fret of the B, then you play the 9th fret of the G, then you play the 8th fret of the B, then you hammer on to the 10th fret. So it's okay, then the main riff is okay. So you start out on the 10th fret of the B, then you slide down to the 8th fret, then you slide back up to the 10th fret. Then you play the 9th fret of the G. And you play that 9th fret of the G again. And then you slide down to the 7th fret, then you slide back up to the 9th fret. Then you play the 7th fret of the D. Then you play the 7th fret of the D, and you slide down to the 5th fret, then you slide back up to the 7th fret, then you play the 7th fret of the A. So it's then that part is the 5th fret of the high E and B strings, and then you play the 8th fret of the B. So it's and then you play the 5th fret of the B, and then the 7th fret of the G. Then you go back to this riff. Okay, you do that same thing. Okay, then you play the 5th fret of the high E and B strings. Then you play the 8th fret of the B. Then you play the 5th fret of the high E. So it's like then you play the 5th fret of the B, then the 7th fret of the G. Then you play the 7th fret of the G, then you pull off to the 5th fret, then you play the 7th fret of the D. Twice. Then you let that ring. So far you have okay. Then you have you do that main riff again, okay, and then you go into the chorus. Okay. You do an A5 chord, okay, we're gonna do the 5th fret of the low E and the 7th fret of the A and D strings. Okay, that's going to be our A5 chord. Okay, then our G5 chord, which is the same thing as the A5 chord except move down 2 frets. Then you do an F5 chord, which is the same thing as the G5, except move down 2 frets. Then you go back to the G5 chord, okay? So, our G5 chord is the 3rd fret of the low E and the 5th fret of the A and D strings. And the F5 chord is the 1st fret of the low E and the 3rd fret of the A and D strings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from A5 to G5 to F5 to G5 to F5 or to A5, G5, F5, G5, A5, G5, F5. So we're going to end on the F5 chord. Okay, that's the chorus riff, and then you get to. Well, you get to this. You get that part, which is the 7th fret of the A, then the 5th fret of the D, then you hammer on to the 7th fret of the D, then you play the 5th fret of the G, then you play the 7th fret of the G, then you half bend it up, then you release it, then you pull off to the 5th fret, then you play the 7th fret of the G, then the 7th fret of the D. So it's slowly goes. Full speed. Okay, so that's all I'm going to teach this lesson. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, whatever, and keep rocking.